Hey, real quick video today. I wasn't planning to record anything, but this has been heavy on my mind recently, and I didn't want to wait. So here we are, just me and my phone. And most of this has come from some recent phone conversations and Zoom meetings that I've had with prospective clients, where this has come up a few times. So you've probably seen it on the news. The market is setting new highs nearly every week. And if you're within 5 years of retirement, or you're already retired and you haven't yet built out a spending bucket, I'm convinced that this is the time to do it. Since 2010, we've gotten used to some really good returns. I mean, other than a few dips here and there, like 2020, 2022, then even this past April, the market has bounced back pretty fast, even in those dips. And otherwise, it's been a fantastic market. And I'm not here to be the prophet of doom. I'm I'm not saying that a crash is coming tomorrow. In fact, I think there's a lot of economic tailwinds that could keep this thing going for a little while longer. But here's what I am saying. A lot of people retired in 1999 right after a long stretch of great performance with a few dips. It's very similar to what we have now, and they didn't know what was coming. 2000, 2001, and 2002, those were rough years. Then they were able to catch their breath for a little while in 2003 through about 2007, and then they were hit with 2008 and 2009. And I can tell you, for some people, it was devastating. And for many, it wasn't because they were overspending. It was because they were having to sell investments during a downturn. So the classic sequence of returns risk hit them and hit them hard. And when we look back at the data, you could see it clearly. Retirees who had a solid spending bucket in place, something carved out so they didn't have to touch their long-term investments during market downturns, they made it through. It was still stressful and not much fun, but they didn't run out of money. They didn't have to go back to work or do any of the horror stories that you've heard about after people retire. So, if you're closing in on retirement, or maybe you're already there and you haven't built a segment of your portfolio that's dedicated to near-term spending, it's time to do it. Again, not because I think the market's about to fall, but because I know at some point it will, and we don't get to choose when. The only thing we can control is how prepared we are. Now, this is the topic that I'll be diving into more in the near future. So be sure and keep an eye out on the channel. We're going to talk about specifics in there. Why? Like just buying a bond fund and calling it a day is not the spending bucket that you need set aside. Yeah, that may be fixed income, but it's not going to satisfy for your spending bucket. Thanks for watching.